Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited today. I have the man himself, the NFT man, I would say, okay, with me. We know him by many names. Let's talk to him about all his names as well. So, Twobadour, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Desi Crypto Show.
Thanks, Nitin. Good to be here.
How are
Thanks.
you doing today? Tell us how's the day looking like for you?
Quite good, actually. I started the day off with NFT Radio, which is a weekly show that I do with some of the best minds in the crypto space, in the NFT space. So this week started off with this morning, actually started off with a show about Betty's Notebook, which is a work of crypto art, which is actually the first work of crypto music, I'd say, on the art platform called Async art. So basically, it's a layered work of music where there's one master layer and four stems. And depending on how you program those four stems, each of them can have different owners. The master layer sounds different each time you hear it. So this is what we were discussing and talking about in the morning. So it was looking up. I've had some interesting conversations since then, and including this one. So it's the day is looking up.
Very nice, very nice. Very happy to hear. Yeah. So let's start with something personal. Tell us, what does this Twobadour come from? Where does this come from?
I mean, I was a former journalist, and I meandered my way through corporate communications, writing about various things from movie reviews to supply chain finance and everything else in between. Before I stumbled into the NFT space, I've always seen myself as a sort of a roving or a traveling storyteller. That's what the word troubadour means. I
Mhm.
just added the word. Slightly modified it to troubadour because all through our life we have this dual forces inside of us, right? One force pushing us forward and the other exercising caution. That duality, that's what the two represents. So instead of fighting it, I thought I might as well make it part of my name. So that's where Twobadour comes from.
Very, very nice, very exciting. And you said that you love traveling. So in the last, I think, few months, you wouldn't have been traveling, is it? So what do you do? How do you spend your urge to travel? Do you travel in the metaverse?
Yes, exactly. That's how, I was almost getting withdrawal symptoms from sitting home all day and not being able to go anywhere because of COVID. But then I think a lot of people around the world discovered the metaverse because of COVID, in a sense. They were
Mhm.
looking to connect somehow with other people around the world, and the metaverse was the obvious answer. In fact, if you trace the boom of NFT space itself over the last year and a half, you can sort of trace it to to the inflection points in the COVID journey itself. So, for better or worse, it's brought a lot of people together. I'd say for better. That's been the silver lining for us. And so I traverse the metaverse. I hang out in crypto voxels. I'm a massive fan of Decentraland and Somnium Space and Sandbox. So I keep flitting around these worlds as an avatar and meet a lot of interesting people.
So is it right to say your day is full of travel within metaverse and playing games?
Yeah, it does feel like fun. Yes, it is.
Very nice. Very nice. So tell us a little bit about how did you come in crypto? We understand that your background has been in journalist, etc.
Yeah, it's funny, right? I met Metakovan for the first time in 2013. I mean, we were sort of colleagues at the Hindu, actually. He sort of came in for a small project that we were working on. I was a journalist at the Hindu. We got talking, and it is around that time that he discovered Bitcoin. And the same packet of information that he shared with me. But at that time, it went completely over my head. I couldn't engage with it at all. Whereas it was enough to give him wings, fly him off to Canada and start a series of enterprises which led him to becoming what he did. Me, I meandered my way, like I said, through a lot of other areas, like supply chain finance, like financial technology for a long time before I finally started to realize what he was talking about. And in 2017, I started to work with him for about 2.5 years to 3 years. I wrote about decentralized finance, the DeFi space for the most part. And then in 2020, I discovered NFTs. 2017 is when even Metakovan started to discover NFTs. That's when he bought the first decentralized land parcel, when it was just a bunch of red dots on a screen, not the high fidelity world that you see right now. So that's my long and short meandering way to crypto. Whereas the reason I'm even talking about this is because anybody who wants to enter crypto now, the direct portal to them is the NFT space. They don't have to go through the entire, learning curve of what is blockchain, what is Bitcoin, what are altcoins, what is DeFi, what is the ICO boom. They can, shelve all of that stuff and jump right into the NFT space. And simply by playing these games and traveling these worlds in the metaverse, as you say, they get to understand all of these abstract concepts that crypto backs.
Yeah, I'll tell you, in our life as well, I myself have traveled the way into crypto through. I got to know in 2011, and I was like, somebody told me, I said, there's one single line about Bitcoin on Wikipedia. I said, there's nothing, and I left it. And yeah, today it's much easier, and that's what we have to make it. We have to make it very, very easy for people to get involved. So yeah, it's the journey. I think coming from the two different sides, we're coming to the same place. It's very exciting. So what are you most excited about in the NFT space these days? What keeps you awake? What do you think is like the next big thing coming?
That's an interesting question. That's what everybody asks themselves, right? What the next big thing is. I think we have arrived at the next big thing, and any innovation from here on will become part of the NFT space. Let me explain. There is nothing, in my opinion, that is going to, say that, first there were NFTs and now there is this. From now on, everything is going to be NFTs, is my theory at least. Whether it's a financial innovation, whether it is an experience innovation, they all become subsumed under this vehicle that we call NFTs. It's like the invention of cars, right? Or automobiles. From now on, the chassis will change and the engine will keep changing. The engine is going to be all your underlying technologies, but you will recognize the car as NFTs from now on. It's not going to be any other technology. So I think we have arrived at that inflection point. All of the combined innovations that we've seen in crypto so far are now under the hood.
Very, very interesting and very profound view. So I'm trying to educate myself, and I think our viewers as well, that so it all started with Bitcoin. People did not even understand what blockchain was or what decentralization was, right? It all started with Bitcoin first, and then came Ethereum and changed the world again, and then came, I don't know, then came DeFi these days that changed the world again, and now in somewhere NFTs came, and it's actually the way you recognize blockchain, or the way you recognize decentralization. Is that what we should understand it now? Is that how you are portraying it?
Yeah, that's the truth for a lot of people, right? The previous iterations, when you see a boom in user base, they're all oriented around one thing, right? Which is to maximize profits. Even now, for the most part, any new phenomenon in the crypto space is about trying to maximize profits. But very differently in the NFT space now, there's a huge crowd of people that come in for the experience, that come in for the culture. And I think that's the key, really. From now on, it's not the financial undercurrents, but the culture that's driving innovation forward. That's what's going to make it powerful. I'll give you one example where, during the pandemic, job loss is a global problem, right? Everybody experienced job loss. It's a major issue. It was the same case in Philippines as well. But a bunch of people, over 1,000 people, in fact, simply by playing Axie Infinity, were able to pull themselves out of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
They played that game. They used the play to earn model. Simply by winning the game, converting those points into tokens, which were actually crypto tokens, ERC20 tokens, into pesos, they pulled themselves out of poverty. Now, what do you call that? They didn't have to go through the entire cycle of what Bitcoin is, what DeFi is, but they did engage with DeFi when they played a game and traded those coins. and swap them for pesos. There's an on-ramp, there's an off-ramp. There are complexities in being able to trade an ERC20 token, but all of that becomes abstracted because it's now part of a game. That's what I'm trying to talk about. So anybody who comes in and trades NBA Top Shots, for instance, again, are dealing with financial undercurrents, are dealing with an alternative blockchain and flow, but all of that is abstracted away because they approach it from the one area that they really understand, which is basketball. Everything else becomes secondary. So that's how it's going to be. This new cycle of users coming in, this new wave, all subsequent waves will engage at points that they completely understand.
Yeah.
And so NFTs equals crypto from now on.
Well, that's a very strong statement, and I'm still trying to get my heads around it. Okay, and I'm sure that a lot of people are. And guys, you heard it here again, that NFT is crypto. So let's go a little bit more deep into it, because my curiosity is not satisfied yet. So I'm sure let's go a little bit more.
Sure.
So far we've been talking, or people, even in people like me in crypto space, to a significant amount. I don't do a lot of NFTs, but to me, NFTs is all about collectibles. NFTs is all about creators creating, I don't know, some creators creating some stuff, and it mostly in the entertainment industry, or the creative industry, and that manifests itself in the digital world as NFT, and you have a proof of ownership. That's how my mind reads it. Tell me more about how money transfer or other stuff, or DeFi, which is going on in this space, can be related to an NFT. Let's take that example a little bit more.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you put it right. It does involve the creative industry like never before. But I mean, most of the money when we think of spending money, Nitin, where do you spend it on? You spend it on experiences, right? You spend it in the entertainment industry. You spend it in the, $15 billion or $50 billion gaming industry. That's where you spend it on. That's what the NFTs represent now. All of those collectibles are where you spend the money. And that's where all of this DeFi stuff comes in, right? Like I just gave the example of Axie Infinity. There is a lot of trading going on. There's a lot of yield farming going on within the NFT space. I mean, MakerDAO has been one of the prime movers in the NFT space. They've been able to, offer grants and offer yield farms, which are three-dimensional now. So instead of dealing with a two-dimensional screen for, yield farming, you, as your avatar, can, actually go to a farm and yield tokens. That kind of a gameplay starts to occur. And there is this game called Decentral Games, which is a casino in Decentraland, which is a very powerful way to gamify finance again. And the NFT space is, it does two things, right? From your own definition, what it does is it creates this supplementary ecosystem for people who have not had a space in the crypto, the crypto industry so far. I mean, people like me, for instance, my job was to write, to communicate. There's no job. I mean, there's no major role unless I'm deeply steeped in into financial instruments, or I understand sociopolitics, or I know how to code. Without these three, I have no role in the crypto space. But now I do because of NFTs. And now there is a whole industry of people which can support these supplementary skills, which enhance the overall experience of the crypto space, and which again will draw a lot of investment and a lot of spending into this space. What the NFT space lacks right now, and which is what it's trying to fix, is the current explosion that you've seen over the last 6 to 8 months has all been about acquiring NFTs, right? Gobbling up as many NFTs as we want. The next wave, or the next explosion, is going to be about experience. What do I do with these NFTs is going to be the biggest question. Now I've collected art, I've collected these in-game tokens, or these in-game assets. What do I do with them? The protocols that are able to give you the best answer to the question, what do I do with my NFT, will be the ones that survive the next wave, will be the ones that take this whole thing forward.
So that's very forward-looking thinking. Let's I still have to, I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep going a little bit more deeper into it. So still, my mind is still stuck at that NFTs is for collectibles. I want to collect, and I want to have bragging rights. right?
Hmm.
I'm still not able to fathom that are my NFTs for trading? Are these NFT tokens, um, are their NFT tokens actually tradable, or should we trade them? It's, yeah, price might rise because of various reasons, um, but are, are these not just bragging rights? Are these just not proof of ownership? But are you thinking about it to be more of trading as well on NFTs? That's where you see it going.
Trading is a definite possibility. Yes, in fact, most of the money is made on the secondary markets. Right. Look at Beeple himself as an artist, or take the Nifty Gateway platform. Most of the trading volumes come from the secondary market. People who've missed out on that first purchase, and then sell their NFTs for 2x or 3x in hopes that it might grow in value at some point of time. But that's only secondary, Nitin, to be honest. If I were to buy an NFT, and this is financial advice, is if the same rules that apply to trading or purchasing tokens apply to the NFT space as well. Don't spend more than you can afford to lose, one. And the second is, don't start off with the intention of being able to flip immediately. I don't think that's the way you need to engage with NFTs, because it's very hard to value NFTs, first because there is no historic data. It's not a really old phenomena. Even in the larger crypto space, there is not enough historical data for all of these tokens and these token based systems to accurately predict value or predict trends, even less so in the NFT space. So what do? What NFTs force you to do is to engage with culture. You can't gauge value simply by looking at charts or by looking at one current trend in the NFT space. You need to speak to the people. You need to understand the creators of that particular NFT. You need to understand the user base of that NFT. You need to understand the utility, either present or future, of that particular NFT before you think about investing in it. If you're not willing to do the homework, and if you just plunge right in and say, I bought this NFT, why can I not sell it? It won't work. But on the other hand, if you've got a bunch of tokens, say you're bullish on one particular token project and the token crashes, you have nothing in your hand. With NFTs, on the other hand, if there is no market for the NFT that you have in your hand, it's still okay, because you bought it because it spoke to you at some level, right? If you're talking about art, it means that you like that work of art. And even if you're not able to resell it, you still have the art that you paid for. It's not like it's gone completely bust or you're left with nothing. That's the beauty of the NFT scene, I'd say.
So yeah, so we've had Axie Infinity on the show. They talked about all the stuff which you're talking about. We have also had DCL blogger on the show. We've talked about Axie. We've talked about NFT and stuff like that. But what you are talking about is probably a little bit more ahead, and you're talking about that more and more things will start converging towards NFTs, and your experiences will go towards NFTs, and it'll be the gateway. NFT is equal to crypto, or crypto is equal to NFT.
Yeah.
Right?
For future generations, let's put it that way. I'm not here to preach to Bitcoin OGs, right? That's not the point here. I'm not telling them that your tech is old, that your way is gone. That's not the point. The point is, you already have walked down this path. You know how each of these inflection points work. You've been part of the journey right from the beginning, so you understand now. But for anybody that's coming forward, they don't have to go through the 7 years, 8 years that you have to be able to meaningfully engage with crypto. That's the point I'm trying to make.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And I mean, so this is very interesting. So for the benefit of users, for our viewers, so what what would you advise, or where would you direct a newbie or a person who is listening to this first time and like, okay, I've heard a lot about NFTs. Where should I get involved? What should I do the first thing?
Interesting. Okay. There are many ways to do this, but maybe a little brush with history would be a good idea.
Yeah.
There is this resource called the NFT Bible by OpenSea. So if you just Google NFT Bible and OpenSea, it traces the origin story of NFTs and where it is, at least until the last 1 year or so, very, very effectively. So you get a nice history lesson for NFTs, and you understand where each of the OG enterprises are functioning. From there on, I would say think about the one space that you feel is most exciting in the NFT space. Do you like games? Start with Axie Infinity. Do you like basketball? Start with NBA Top Shots. Do you like, say, again, if it's land or RPG games, check out Decentraland, or if you like Roblox, go to Sandbox, and so on and so forth. Start with games there. If you like art, plunge into super rare or async art, or known origin or maker's place. If you're into if you like the excitement of being able to flip assets on a day trading basis, almost, go to Nifty Gateway. Or if you just want to say, I don't want anybody to curate the stuff that I buy, I'd like to take a decision myself, you can go and dive into OpenSea directly, which is the largest marketplace for all kinds of NFTs, or go to Rarible. Again, there is no guarantee of what stuff there is original, what is duplicate, but you've got a sense of you can take what you want, that kind of thing. So these are all easily available resources. You don't need to get lost. Plus, there are so many commentators in the space, right? I mean, people like Andrew Steinwald, who does the Zima Red podcast. There is Matty for DCL Blogger, who talks about all of these things. There is Matthew and Rizzle, which is called the Mars Show podcast, which talk about a lot of these creators in the show. So there are resources, there are people that you can listen to, that you can talk to. Do a little bit of research first, gauge which area is of interest to you, and then it becomes easy. For instance, if you are a sports aficionado and you check out, say, Sorare for football collectibles, or you go to NBA Top Shots, it'll be easy for you to judge if they're doing the right thing, or if this is a sustainable model. As a fan, it's easier for you to find out than as an investor. That's what I mean. So if you approach it purely as an investor without any idea of what basketball is, you're screwed. Go in as a fan, you're on a much better footing.
What do you see? And we've had some conversations around this in the Indian ecosystem. Do you see that Indian ecosystem still lacks buyers? We are fans, but we are not collectors yet, right? We Indians are not yet. At least that's how the common Indian is. We are fans of IPL, but we don't collect IPL cards, right? Or NBA Top Shots cards, etc.
I'd
We are
say give us
fans
a
of
chance. No, we haven't had a proper chance yet. I mean, the same baseball collecting cards phenomena that swept the US and it is still popular and is selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars doesn't exist in India, because the concept of scarcity doesn't exist here. I remember we had WWF cards, we had cricket cards and all of that stuff. There are dime a dozen, right? I mean, you and 25, 30, 40, 50 of your classmates have the same set of cards with them also. There's no concept of scarcity there. There is no point in trying to trade much. So, if the makers of these unique assets valued their IP properly and sort of did the right structuring there, I think we would be collectors as well.
Yeah, I see that on socials we'll see some 3 IPL teams come. I heard that yesterday. I don't know if you saw that or not. So the phenomenon has started, and I think that there will be, I think, KKR, RCB, and one more. So we will see that coming very soon. So it'll be extremely exciting in India as well. I think we're going to the next leap. Like you said, we're going to give it a chance, and we will not go to the cards like physical form. We'll straight go to the
NFTs.
NFT, right? So let's talk about B20. We have a project B21, so it's kind of a slip, but you are very close. So B20. So what's all about, right? Tell our viewers, tell us about B20.
Man, that is B20 is a pop-up experiment in the metaverse, and one that we that is very close to our heart, because it's the first of its kind, and done at a scale which was never seen before in the NFT space or in the crypto space, to be honest. Around October, November, we were thinking about Metakovan and I were thinking about where this NFT space is going. What do we do next? So this idea of pushing the whole space towards experience rather than just acquiring NFTs sort of stuck in our mind. So how do we do that? So, and the second problem was access to high value NFTs was incredibly skewed, right? I mean, if you wanted, I mean, $1 million NFT is not equal to $100,000 $10 NFTs. That's not how it works. Value doesn't quite compute in that sense. So if you don't have access, or if you don't have the money for a high value NFT, you tend to buy those really low value NFTs and then wait for the price to flip. So we wanted to bridge that gap somehow, which means that we have to solve the liquidity problem in an imaginative way. So all of these together, when we were thinking about it, out of the blue, Beeple contacts Metakovan on Twitter, just as a courtesy call, right? And the reason he contacted him was because during his first drop on Nifty Gateway, Metakovan was one of the losing bidders for his piece. That piece sold for about $60,000 or something. Metakovan didn't win the piece. So as a matter of courtesy, because he was one of the bidders, people called and said, look, I'm going to be doing a subsequent drop. The other penny dropped. So we didn't tell people anything at the time. We didn't say, we just wished him well. And then we got planning. Metakovan and I, he was in Singapore, I was in India. We shared our screen. We had like a, one-to-one communication growing. And we created 12 pseudonymous accounts on Nifty Gateway. And we started to scoop up all of those pieces. 20 single editions, over 2 days. Each day was an overnighter. It starts somewhere around 10 or something like that. And for 7 hours straight, we would sit in front of the system, bid one piece after another, and scoop up those pieces. And this had never been done before. It will never happen again because of the sheer audacity of the plan, and that it was hinged on nobody recognizing or spotting that it was all us, which happened right at the 19th piece, but not before. So we scooped up all of those pieces for $2.2 million. Right? That itself was a story. Wow. People lost their shit. What, one person, like one entity bought all of these pieces? That's never been done before. That's crazy. So what are you going to do with this? Are you going to sell it again on the open markets? We should wait and watch. So we then spent an additional $600,000 on putting together a crew and building some insane monuments in the metaverse. Right? We brought in voxel architects. We spent $100,000 on prime real estate in Decentraland, and also in Somnium Space and Sandbox and Crypto Voxels. We had all of this area there. We had them build these wonderful monuments to house these 20 single edition pieces. We contacted Blau, who's an EDM artist, who's a DJ, to give us a soundtrack, original soundtrack for this entire monument, this experiment, and that's it. We then called Grow Your Base. You should speak to Grow Your Base. They are a really exciting NFT platform to help us with tokenomics, right? So we bundled all of these assets, the 20 single edition pieces, the monuments, the real estate, the Blau soundtrack, all of it, we bundled them together. And then we fractionalized the ownership into 10 million B20 tokens. And we launched this at a launch party. And this is, again, an unprecedented thing, right? You don't have launch parties for tokens, right? You just have, a 2D screen with a countdown clock going live, and boom, you're done. We actually had, a simultaneous party in Crypto Voxels, Somnium Space, and Decentraland, where we had close to 3,000 people, which was the largest virtual event ever. People come in. We had, Beeple talk at the event. We had, a bunch of people speak there. Blau did a live DJ set, and there we launched the B20 token. And it becomes a very simple, sublime experiment, right? B20 is not a utility token. It's not a governance token. It's not a DeFi token. All it does is it shares ownership of this entire B20 experience if you have that B20 token. That's it. It gives you exposure to a bunch of high value NFTs. So now about over 5,000 people are B20 holders right now. So apart from Metakovan and this team, of Grow Your Base, of Whale Street, which did all of the token engineering, all of the smart contracts, Voxel Architects, Metacast, who did all the communications, about 27 people in all. Apart from them, there's another 5,000 people who hold these B20 tokens. So we are co-owners of that experiment. So that's where we are.
Very nice. And so that's extremely exciting. So one thing which people ask us, okay, how do I because there are a lot of creators in Indian space, and they say that, how do I get started to sell? How do I make money with my art? I know Beeple, but I might be the next Beeple, right? What do I do, right? And I think that's a fair question. People are creators, they do phenomenal. In India we have various different kinds of arts, and they want to show it to the world. So give us some direction to that kind of an audience. Tell us some views about that. Yeah.
I think there are excellent animators in India, artists in India, creators in India. You can directly approach people in the crypto space today, in the NFT space. It is still small enough where you can establish a direct connect with all of them by writing to them, by DMing them on Twitter. But the best way to do this is to showcase your work. Start to show a body of work. That's the biggest attraction. Rather than saying, I'm capable of something, show them what they've got. And that attracts the most number of people. That's how I've seen. I mean, I personally know a whole bunch of people who've entered into the space, been very generous with their time and their effort. They've shared their artwork, minted on free platforms like Rareable for starters, and then gotten verified on, say, a known origin or a super rare, and ultimately, say, on Async art, and have made it. I think there is no NFT art school, finishing school, where if you just directly enroll, you're given a crash course on exactly what to do and you get a placement in your favorite thing. It's still like the new street. You have to sell your wares. You have to show how good you are. You have to stand out from the crowd, and then you will be scooped up.
So that's very interesting. Do you think so? I'm going more into this. So we have seen, specifically in India, we see Bollywood or the movie industry, and then cricket as two religions, right? So we have started seeing IPL come into it. Do you see, or have you seen, or have you heard, or do you think that soon enough the Bollywood industry will be in NFT soon?
I think it's inevitable. All entertainment industries will sort of try and find a footing in the NFT space, but let's see if it happens. The manner in which it happens is very important, Nitin, because there is a lot of imbalance in how culture itself is represented in India, right? I mean, for instance, Bollywood is not Indian film industry. There are so many other layers in it, and the beauty of the NFT space is that it allows a lot of subcultures also to exist in parallel without being overshadowed by anything else. So there is an opportunity to actually find your voice there. So the way in which you approach this, whether as an IPL or as Bollywood or as the Southern film industry or Northeastern film industry, wherever you are, is how engaged you are with the digital native community. Is it just a case that everybody's talking about NFTs, let me also try and dip my toes in it? Or are you in it for the long haul? Let me build something that's digital native. Let me build something that's specific to this this space, this industry, and this community of people. That, I think, will have a much longer shelf life than recycling old stuff on the blockchain.
Totally. Actually, that's very interesting. So let's take this one more step ahead. So do you think that NFTs are right now for the elite few, people who can understand blockchain, who can buy with Tether or with Ether, etc. And even the creators being a little bit who have the understanding of technology and then being able to go there? Do you think it's still there, or can this actually be for the masses, for the undiscovered art or undiscovered creators who are there? You talked about Northeast and a lot of different types of creators which are there. Uh, uh, do you think that there will be a TikTok moment and to bring all these new creators who have not yet made, and for various reasons, use NFT to showcase and to make it there in their lives?
I think there is one layer left. First of all, I think that NFTs are, way more accessible than the rest of crypto. But that said, there is still a little bit of friction. Obviously, you do need at least a MetaMask extension on your browser to be able to buy art, to be able to mint your art, and so on. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that is essential because there is no centralized body uh, which neither controls your identity and your finances nor will protect it if you lose your private keys, for instance. So that bit of learning, I think, is important for us to understand that losing your seed phrase or losing your private keys is dangerous, that it is irreversible. There's nobody who can send you an email with a lost password link. That doesn't exist here. So
Yeah.
I think that little bit of learning is important. But that said, there are very concerted efforts today to bring artists from these spaces that you just mentioned. Metaverse itself is working with some amazing artists from the south of India who are completely unfamiliar with the space, but we are happy to bridge that gap a little bit over time, teach them about MetaMask and stuff. But in the meanwhile, to transplant their art, to give them access to a global art audience, as well as to connect them with artists that they admire in the space, is something we can do. So it is up to the people within the NFT space, within this space, to lend a hand to a new generation of people and slowly orient them and give them a leg up here. But it's still way easier than trying to understand DeFi or going into degen DeFi farming. So that's there.
I know. Well, that's actually I think it all adds up, right? DeFi farming, or even those meme coins which have been there in the last talk of the town for the last 7 days. And look, it's the same TikTok generation, which is our TikTok users and who have picked it up. That moment is already there. So I think you it's actually you make a lot of good points here. Let's talk let's give a little bit more benefit for the users here. So if there are people who are interested, can they contact, and you gave us some avenues, but can they also reach out to Metaverse and see if they can work together with you? I'm sure that there are a lot of techies who want to create the next NFT TikTok. I'm just throwing the word out there because I think that it can be a very good product in itself to make the NFTized TikTok or content which they create. So something for our views on that side.
Yeah, they've it's already begun, Nitin. People are already working on some of this, and some people are already reaching out. But I would suggest that whether you reach out to Metaverse or to anybody in the industry, don't go with just an idea.
Yes.
It doesn't take a lot of resources these days to build a prototype of what you're trying to do. Build something, create something, and then have that conversation. Ideas no longer work in this space because they are a dime a dozen. And it's a very inspired and inspiring space to be in, which means that every day you come up with new things to do, new ideas that you can think of, not just to maximize profits, but to move the space in interesting directions. So everybody's got a bag full of ideas. So we would be very interested in those people who have a prototype, a working model, and a roadmap of what they want to do with that idea, rather than just an idea.
Yeah, very nice. So, we're coming to the end, but I'm going to ask this one. But so we started thinking, or I started thinking about. We talk about hodling, right? So we start thinking about, hey, buy some bitcoins, buy some ether, buy some tokens, keep it for your kids. Think about it as their education fund. Think about it for the next 10 years, 15 years, right? When they will need it, and that's when you will see that'll be huge. So you have a little bit of a kitty and keep putting whatever satoshis you get or some Ethereum, the hey, our token, why not B21 tokens into it? And do you, am I hearing, and I think I'm going into that direction? Should we also start putting some NFTs into it? It can be get big.
NFTs, I'd say probably not as your nest egg, but definitely as something that you leave your children, like a watch, for instance.
You picked up the next word from my mouth. A watch, exactly.
That's how it is. It's a NFTs pack a lot of emotional content also into it, right? They're very contextual. So a work of art, a watch, a plot of land in Decentraland can be very valuable for many reasons. So even if the financial reason doesn't hold up in the future, the rest of the reasons still will, because that's the beauty of NFTs, of any crypto. The ownership is something that can never be taken away from you. So I would encourage people to maybe buy a little bit of that, so that it exists. Now tokens may not exist. Some of the tokens that we're talking about today, that we feel that we are championing today, might not even exist in a few years. They may be replaced, but NFTs will remain NFTs. That will remain a thing, even if there's no market for it. That plot of land is still yours. It still exists, even if you can't build on it or whatever it is. So I would say yes, uh, for the very least, at least to explain to them what lifelong ownership means. You can tell your son or your daughter that, look, I own this piece, nobody can take it away. Neither the government, nor the local gundas, nor an MLA can grab this piece of property from me. You should live in a world where ownership is like this, and I'm gifting this to you. That's what it means.
Very nice, very nice. So it looks like the next treasure chest for the kids will be very small with some words scribbled out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a pot of gold. And they just have to find X marks the spot and find those words, right? It can be as simple. Hey, beautiful. It was lovely creating with you. It was lovely. I think we created some future possibilities. We created what our kids and would look towards, and I think it was amazing. I enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much. Lovely questions. This was a very fun discussion. Thanks.
Thank you.